or build a house, you typically kind of put together a notebook of inspirational ideas, tear sheets out of magazines, right? So that when you get to that point, you can flip through there for ideas. So I think that doing a competitive benchmarking by looking at what your competition has done or what inspires you and reverting back to that is super smart.
Exactly.
Yeah. So now that your company is launched, obviously it's been a 2020 venture. So you're early days, and you're probably now getting ready to do kind of a full-on marketing effort, I presume. So just to wrap this up, where are you currently in your trajectory?
So I am about 2 or 3 months into being launched. It's been great so far. Definitely still getting feedback from friends and family, folks in my network, even folks second or third degree connections as well. So what I'm working on is actually building up more recognition and building up awareness. So I think the way that I approach marketing is very different from those kind of, I don't want to say bait and switch type classes online, but I take a more thoughtful, strategic approach to marketing. And so it's definitely something that I'm applying to my own marketing. So
Mm.
I'm in that awareness stage. In the next few months, we'll be continuing to build that out. We are launching some more free and paid resources for folks, getting the word out there. And then hopefully by mid 2021, end of, I'm looking at like Labor Day of next year. We'll be doing some more things outside of purely like written content, which is mainly where I'm focused right now. And we'll be doing a lot more of our own video, podcast, that type of content as well.
Got it. Great. So let's talk about your startup hacks that you have used this year as you've been ideating around this idea for your business, developing it, building it, launching it. What were some of the strategies that you used to save time and money that you could share with the audience and to preserve a competitive edge?
Oh yeah. I hate to beat on beat on this again, but it's definitely about organization and prioritization. So I even apply that to how I run my business. So I use a tool that was made by my previous company. It's called Trello, to organize my weekly to-do list and even work to get done past this week. So I keep myself to a Monday to Friday schedule. So every Friday at the end of the day, I journal a bit about how my week has gone, and then I write my weekly to-do list for the next week in my Trello board. And I keep a list of my upcoming work that needs to be done in like a backlog type list, and I move it into the upcoming week as it's kind of coming up and needs to be done. And then every week I have a done list where when I finish a task, I move it there. So it's kind of like a virtual cross off of a to-do list.
Right.
Um, I find it really satisfying. Other folks use other tools, but my tip is find a tool that works for you. And when you're looking for tools, always, always search for the word free plus whatever you're looking for. Don't just look for best or, you know, top, because those best and top tools are going to come up with a lot of not expensive, but some tools that cost money. And if you're not looking to spend money, the best way to find tools that are free is to use the word free when you're searching for them. I
So smart.
also, I'm also like a huge time management nerd, so I make sure I take breaks during the day, which I think is super important right now since, normally I'd imagine I'd be working out of a co-working space or a cafe, and it's purely in my house right now, which, is for many of us is the case if we're that lucky. So I do try to take set breaks for lunch and just walks during the day to break it up. And then I also keep one day a week for my quote unquote admin tasks. And so that could be anything from paying the bills to, checking on some personal admin work that I need to do. And knowing that I have that set day means that I can take all the time I need on the other days to get my work done, and take all of my time and energy and concentrate on doing those admin tasks on the specific day. And that's been super helpful in terms of, managing if you have like I said, bills already, but if you have bills, if you have a mortgage, if you have health insurance things to take care of, all those things where the office is only open 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and you're like, who has time to do this? Because I also have a job Monday to Friday, 9 to 5.
Right.
I
Right.
find that scheduling that in is super helpful.
So so you don't do any work on weekends, it sounds like, and that's part of your self-care.
I try not to, and yes, that's an active part of my self-care.
Yeah. I think that's excellent advice. And I myself use Trello, and I can't say that I have all of its functionality down. I think it's a much more powerful tool than I'm utilizing, but I do find it so easy to use, and has been a real game changer, especially when you're working with a bunch of different people on a project. And it's a great place to track progress and assign responsibilities and see updates, etc. I sound like a Trello commercial, but I do think it's a great product. Um, so let's switch gears as we're starting to wind down on the show. And I wanted to ask you a couple non-related hack questions, if I could. And my first question is, if you could wave a magic wand, what one thing drives you crazy that you wish someone would find a solution for that would help your productivity and your sanity?
I laugh because this was often a question that I would ask customers in my corporate job.
Oh, you're kidding, really?
No, it was one of my favorite questions. I would say, um, if there was a magic wand that someone could wave to solve that uh, a lack of awareness or customer research that some folks do. I did a whole ton of research before launching my business, and made sure that there was some amount of product market fit in what I was building and who needed it. And it's not perfect, and I still have to work on it. And I think that applies to many, many businesses. But wow, the number of folks that I see that are jumping to all these conclusions about the things they need to fix with their business that they think might have to do with marketing, but really it comes down to, have you talked to a customer lately?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I wish that someone could wave a magic wand and either make that faster or easier, because right now it just seems that it's scary for a lot of people because they think it could take, hours and hours of their time.
Right, right. And sometimes don't even know where to begin depending upon who the customer is.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Or they don't even know how to reach their customers, in which case I'm like, oh, you you might have some more problems to fix there.
Yes, which really kind of addresses that key recommended point that's often thrown out there, which is if you're going to start a business, start with something that you know well.
Yes. Yeah,
It
start.
definitely helps.
Oh, it helps tremendously if you are the market or know the market or can get a really good understanding of it. And you never know, you might learn something new about the problem you're trying to solve in the process.
Right, absolutely. So, my last question as we wrap up is if there's one entrepreneur out there listening today, and hopefully there's thousands, what one piece of advice would you give him or her that you wish someone had told you starting out?
I would say be kind to yourself. You know, it's really easy to get caught up and to want to work all the time and really put your blood, sweat, and tears and your time, money, and energy into getting your business off the ground and making it successful. And for a lot of people, it is about survival, right? They've only got a certain amount of runway or savings to get them through, and they need to build their business to a certain point where it can sustain them. And I think sometimes when that happens, we go into autopilot and we forget to really be kind to ourselves and remember why we're doing what we're doing. There's obviously a passion that led you to building your business, and that passion will be really key in helping you succeed. And so you have to remember that passion and to really honor yourself and be kind to yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself when you're putting things out in the world that will ultimately, fix a problem or help a customer, and to trust that you're doing the right thing.
Absolutely. Well, Ada, thank you so much for being on Startup Hacks today. Your insights were fantastic. And if our listeners would like to reach you or learn more about the Cultivate method, where should they go?
Yeah, thanks for having me. TheCultivateMethod.com is our website. You can get our free resources there. We've also got some paid kits and templates, and there's actually a 15% off code for any of our listeners today with the code STARTUP, STARTUP, valid through December 31st. If you want to do any of our paid kits or templates, they're pretty low cost and really easy to use. And then you can also follow our Instagram at the Cultivate Method.
Fantastic. Well, thank you again, and tune in next week for more startup hacks. We have another great show you won't want to miss on the secret female founder strategies that can save you time and money when building your business. This podcast is brought to you by Women Entrepreneurs Global, the first startup studio and digital do-it-yourself startup platform for women. For more information on our guests, this podcast, and many other female founder programs, please visit womenentrepreneurs.global. I'm your host, Fernanda Carapina. We'll see you next week. Thank you for joining Startup Hack. Tune in next week for more interviews. We have another great show you won't want to miss on the secret female founder strategies that can save you time and money when building your business. This podcast is brought to you by Women Entrepreneurs Global, the first startup studio and digital do-it-yourself startup platform for women. For more information on our guests, this podcast, and many other female founder programs, please visit womenentrepreneurs.global. I'm your host, Fernanda Carapina. See you next week.